Welcome to the Upside Podcast, where we help you get unstuck in your life and your business by elevating your thinking and provoking meaningful change from the inside out. I have a guest with us today. I'm so very excited. My friend Destanie Okwumabua.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
So Destanie, how long have we known each other?
Oh my gosh, it's at least since 2018.
At least since 2018, and this is the sad truth. Now, in all fairness, you were Sykes when I met you, which is a pretty easy last name. And so we were on the phone prepping for this last night, and I said, okay, it's really too late to ask you what your name is, but I'm going to need help pronouncing this. You know, it's been a little too long to ask you that, but I practiced it all night, and I feel like I nailed it.
You did great. I went from a sneeze to bad allergies, so like it's kind of a lot. I keep telling people the week before the wedding, I'm like, I have to learn this name.
Well, you made me feel better because you said 2 weeks before you got married, you were actually practicing as well. So that did alleviate a little bit of the shame that I felt that I had to ask you how to pronounce your last name.
It is okay.
But I feel like you're like Madonna. You just stand alone at Destiny. Nobody even has to know.
We'll take that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Beyonce, Madonna.
Okay. I think Destiny is all the same.
All right. Well, I am so excited. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm really excited for all of our listeners to hear your story. And we're going to go all the way back to high school and talk about, I know, high school.
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago for you.
Yes.
That was a little while ago. You're older than you look. But we're going to go back because I think you have some really cool life experiences that you're very aware of how they shaped you and the lessons that they taught you, and then how they're kind of ushering you into your next chapter. So you are the team leader at the Best Southwest Market Center for Keller Williams. So you've been with Keller Williams for a long time, productivity coach, a realtor. You have recruited, you have trained, you have coached, you have done all of the things. And so that's how we know each other and how we're connected. But let's go back to high school.
Yes.
Okay. So you played basketball in high school.
Yes.
And I want you to go back to your junior year of high school when you were playing ball. And you had somebody walk up to you and say, the road to the championship starts right now.
So
tell me about that moment.
That was such a pivotal moment for me specifically because I played basketball at Duncanville High School. If you're not familiar with Duncanville High School, it's one of the most storied women basketball programs in the country. We probably have the most state championships in that division. We're really good. So the expectation of being good was high. When we lost, the whole city felt it. And so I grew up watching the girls. I grew up watching Tamika Catchings play. I grew up watching these legends who go off and be literally GMs of WNBA teams, right? And so now it's my turn. I get to high school. And freshman year, got moved up, but we weren't that great. Like, we won games, but we didn't get very far in the playoffs. Same thing. Sophomore year, now junior year, I had a little bit more influence, right? Like, I'm a starter, I've been a leader on the team, and we lost in regionals, which is not, again, the expectation is state. You win the championship.
Y'all were
a winning program. And I just remember sitting in the car, bawling my eyes out, right? Like, this was the moment that I finally kind of had to myself. And Jack, our head coach's husband, and everyone's left. So it's just me and him in the parking lot. So he walks over to the car and he kind of like does a little tap on my window, and I get out of the car and he literally just gives me the hug that I needed in that moment. And I'm still just crying. And he says, Destiny, the road to a state title starts right now. And it was just such an aha moment because I realized, okay, yes, Jack, you're absolutely right. If I want us to win state my senior year, before I have a chance to walk out of here, I have a chance to curate my legacy right now. And again, the expectation was state. So now I had to start really figuring out, what does that look like for me? What does that look like for my teammates? And we did. We went and won state that next year, which is awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then you went to OSU.
Yes.
And so you had, as you mentioned, you came from a culture where losing was really unacceptable. Even when you lost, it was still not the standard, and you were very clear on that. And so you developed a winning mindset. You developed a competitor's mindset. And so you come from winning state, and you start at OSU, and it's not a winning program.
It's literally the opposite.
Okay, so what was that, Destiny? Tell me about that. How did it feel to go from a winning program to a losing program?
Yeah.
Say, right?
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. Like, it was hard. Like, it sucked. It sucked bad. And so what it really took was just kind of looking in the mirror and saying, okay, who are you going to be in this moment, girl? Like, you got to decide how you're going to show up. I think my freshman year, we won 8 games. And again, we're Oklahoma State University. Like, we're not playing small universities. We're playing like major teams. So we're losing on national television bad. And I'm starting. So like, here I am coming from this program.
That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. And again, it was the decision like, okay, am I going to show up and I'm going to have this losing mindset? Or am I going to bring everything that I learned from those 4 years in high school to these girls that may not have had a chance to experience that? How am I going to be a leader in this moment? How am I going to hold my head up high at the end of the game when Shamika Christian just like scored 30 points on all of us, and now I have to figure out like, okay, how am I going to decide to be the better person here? Like, how am I going to be a better person here?
So I think for any person that would rock your confidence a bit and your identity, because a lot of who you were, I'm sure, was tied to being a winning basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you make the choices, or what did you do to really maintain your confidence and push through that season?
That's such a great question. I'll be honest, it was really just remembering who I was. I didn't realize it at the time, but my family was such a foundational piece of always kind of getting back centered. So even when, in college, if you've ever played in college before, you know that Christmas just doesn't exist. No holidays exist. You don't get spring break if you're good. Like, you just don't have those. But whenever I would go home or just make that call home, it was always a call to my coach, call to my mom, saying, hey, this is who you are. Don't forget you're good at this. When you come off the dribble this way, remember how you'd always do this? Get back to that. And it was always just that centering of, no, this is who you are, girl. Focus on that.
Mm-hmm. I think so many times our identity gets so wrapped up in what we do versus who we are. And it's hard sometimes to untangle that and to separate that. But when we come back to the place of really going, this is who I am, regardless of what I'm doing. And athletics is a scary thing because you can get injured and lose it all in a moment's time. And if our identity is so tied to that, but that's the same in business. It's the same with family. We can lose family members. And so when our identity is tied to something greater, it is that anchoring point. So, okay. So then in OSU, senior year, you weren't starting anymore, but you were winning.
Yes.
So that's a little bit of a bittersweet moment, I would imagine. So talk about how identity, ego was tied to that. Talk about that a little bit.
That was probably one of the more emotional years that I had in sports, because at this point, I'm trying to decide, do I even want to play basketball anymore? And this is something that I've been doing since 5th grade, right? And so I really enjoyed being around my teammates and all the things, but it was a real struggle to just show up every day. And I, again, was going through some things personally. I know that I wasn't playing at the same level that I used to. We've gotten a new coach, and now we've got some really great players. And having started those last 3 years and now my senior year, sometimes it may take a step back to let others shine, to be a good leader, to be a good teammate, to be a good support person. You and I just attended a training where we talked about leadership and followership. And so what that looked like for me was, now I have to decide how to be a leader by following. And following freshmen that may not know exactly like how things are here, how we do things.
Yeah.
But it also just took me to just kind of, still be the leader in my own right, but still be a huge support, be the first one off the bench during timeouts, making sure that everybody has what they need when we're going wherever we're going, right? So it just really took a lot of ownership of myself and my actions. Now, I will say, I was in the best shape of my life,
Okay.
because I knew at the end of the day, anything that I can control, you can't take from me.
It's good.
Meaning you can't take away all of the academics that I put in. I was actually able to graduate early, but opted out not to. And also, you can't take away my physical condition, meaning I came back from summer. Mind you, spend the summer at school, like you spend the summer at university. Well, again, I was on track to graduate early, so I needed to get my internship done. So I spent the summer back home doing an internship, which was really cool. We'll get into that later. But I spent the summer at home. But when I came back, I was in really good shape. And I ended up being 165 pounds and like 10% body fat. So I was stacked. Like I was I was
can relate
big
to that. Not at all. Okay.
And plus, like, athletically, like, I think we ran like I was able to nail like a 6-minute mile. Some of my biggest athletic accomplishments were accomplished that year.
So do you feel like you started competing against yourself as opposed to competing against the other women around you?
Selfishly, no.
Okay.
So outside, yes. I wanted to compete against myself, but there was a little twinge in me that said, I'm going to show my coach.
Yeah.
I'm going to show.
You had something to prove.
I had something to prove. There was a little chip on my shoulder to say, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to outperform all of your recruits.
Uh-huh.
But I still wanted to prove to myself I can do it. And I didn't want anyone to feel like they beat me in a way, if that makes sense.
It's that winning mindset.
It's that winning mindset.
That losing wasn't acceptable.
It's not going to happen.
Without 100% out there on the court.
I'm going to be the first to cross every single line.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your modeling career.
Yes.
Also something I don't relate to. I can't even walk in a straight line without tripping over my own feet. Okay, so what gave you the fire? Talk a little bit. So you moved to New York. Just tell us a little bit about that journey, because you went through some challenges in that industry. It's a tough industry. It's a competitive industry. Talk a little bit about that journey for you.
So moving to New York it came with a lot. It came with a lot of decision. It came with a lot of support. But again, my family was always a supporter of what I wanted to do. I remember when I made the decision to move to New York or pursue modeling, and my dad was like, it's about time. It's about time. And I'm like, oh, yes. Okay, great. Let's go. So hired a trainer. I had transitioned from 165 and 10% body fat to, I think I lost about 30 pounds, which losing that much muscle is not easy, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of cardio, a lot of reps. So your workouts are longer. Nobody enjoys doing that, right? So it was a lot of working out. But once I moved to New York, I had moved with a guy that I was dating, and his acting career was taking off. So it just made sense for us to go at the same time. He had already been in the industry. He kind of gave me the ropes to understand, hey, you want to move around this time, get ready for Fashion Week. You can book a bunch of gigs. And the goal was he would kind of float us financially when we got there. And then once I got some gigs under my belt, then we can kind of get our own places and kind of get back to just being us again. And we moved on. I believe.
You were how old at this time?
I was 22, about to be 23. No, 23, about to be 24.
Which I'm sure at the time you felt so grown, and now you probably look back and go,
yeah,
I'm so young.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is while I say I was 24, I was 19 for about 4 years. I mean, you're not going to Google me. Sorry. And so when I would go to castings, I literally was telling everybody that, oh, I'm 19. I just graduated high school, moved here to pursue a career, when like obviously that wasn't the truth. But I would share these like very elaborate made up stories just to get gigs. But at the end of the day, I know when I would walk into castings, just a regular old black girl from Texas just wasn't interesting enough. Even though I knew I can outwalk, I can outpose, I can outdo all of these girls, and I still may not be it for you. Like I still may not be something that you want for your look, which is wildly frustrating, right? You're getting no after no after no after no after no. You might get a yes, and then they're going to tell you no again, right? So it's a lot of no's rooted in that. And it was, again, getting back to my faith, getting back to my family, and realizing that even if I did lose 30 pounds, I was still the biggest model in the room. But if I can show up and, again, outwalk, outperform, outpose all of these models, I bet you I'm going to outsell, like this garment is going to be the best selling.
So how did you press through with that? Because when everybody is telling you, and not necessarily in these words, but you're not enough, or you're not right, or you need to be different to be accepted, or to be what the quote unquote norm is. How did you mentally, because again, that's a lot of pressure. I mean, all of these things have been very high pressure type environments that can really mess up somebody's mental, emotional psyche. How did you deal with that?
So again, great question. I think what really, I think when I spoke to you, the language, this was my coming of age time, right? And I didn't realize how pivotal New York was to me when I first moved there, but it really shaped who I was. I was very confident in basketball, in sports, because I can control the environment. Like I know what to expect. I've been here for years. I watched my dad and my brother play. So I really knew what to expect. I'm in a totally different environment now. And there's a lot of things that I can't control. And so I think this was the piece where I really had to just focus on my confidence. I remember growing up, my mom owned a hair salon. And the rule was if you walked into the shop, you had to speak to every single person in the room. And if you didn't, you better believe you better meet her in the back and there's going to be a long chat.
Okay.
Right?
If you were learning to work a room, I love that. That's amazing.
And it's funny because people think I'm very outgoing and I'm not. It's all learned behavior.
Yeah. Me too, actually. Me too.
Okay, so you get
100%. I started in sales at 21 and I would walk into rooms and I would rather just go sit in the corner and drink my coffee and talk to nobody.
Yep.
And
I'll wave.
Sure.
But I really just want to sit here.
I am 100% the same way, and people are shocked about that. And I'm like, you can learn how to work a room.
Yeah.
You can learn how to become social. It just takes more energy for you and I to do that for long periods of time. We got to go away and refuel.
Yes. Yes. So just gotta balance it. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of me just working on my confidence, which I'll be honest, it was hard to work on your confidence when you're making a decision. Am I going to eat today or am I investing in my modeling career and buying these high resolution photos for my portfolio? Right. And eventually what I realized is what was happening is that I started getting a few more gigs and I found that I was able to even book gigs outside of my agent. I was very strategic in never signing an exclusive agreement with an agency because especially at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of diversity in modeling. Mm-hmm. And they would say, oh, we've got a girl with your look, and they look just as different as you and I. And it's like, she doesn't look like me, but okay. And so what I was really strategic about was keeping those agreements non-exclusive so I could still go book work on my own. And some of my biggest gigs,
you're really betting on yourself.
Yes.
I mean, did you realize that you were going to be a great salesperson at this point?
Not even close.
So you weren't even thinking about it from a sales and marketing perspective, which is, really what most of your career has now been, is a lot of sales and marketing because you've learned to deal with rejection, put yourself out there and get a lot of no's and all of the things. So you were not even aware that you were selling yourself, essentially.
I knew that I had to take great photos. Mm-hmm. I knew that I had to show up and do well. That's all I knew. And I did not, again, I knew there was some competitiveness there. Yeah. But I didn't realize, even just in talking to you, like I'm realizing, oh, you're way too competitive. Maybe you're a little bit too competitive. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think you figured out how to make that work for you.
It's been a blessing. I'll go with that. It's been a blessing.
So you made some big life pivots. New York City to Texas, basketball to modeling, education to real estate. You got your teaching degree and certificate and you taught school, then got into real estate. What do you think the common threads have been throughout all of these major changes to go from one thing to the next to the next?
That's a really good question. So
you were just really giving me a lot of my question.
Good questions, I promise. No, I think that the fact that I learned early in life that I was a life changer, and it had nothing to do with me thinking that I was this really great person, mm-hmm. but from the moment that I got to college and realized oh, I've got some influence here. Not on purpose, because again, I enjoy just kind of being at home in my jammies mm-hmm. and just watching SportsCenter or whatever was on at the time, to when I became a model and realizing I kind of started attracting other models. And again, some models were living the lifestyle of cigarettes and coffee, right? Mm-hmm. While I'm having to be on a $1,500 calorie diet just to kind of maintain where I was, just to maintain. Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of I realized I was standing out as a leader without intentionally doing it. And when I got to real estate, that was when it really started to show up for me that I am blessed enough to be able to influence others. And I don't take that lightly. Being a leader of our office, it's really important to me that I show up for these agents and for not just their goals, but their families. Mm-hmm. To be able to do what we want is, I think, amazing. Yeah. You can do literally anything with real estate. I tell everybody, real estate is just the car you drive to get to where you're trying to go. Not that this is a pass through, but this is where you go. You come to shift from that W-2 mindset to that entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
And I promise you, this journey of entrepreneurship is more about you growing as a person than anything else. It's going to be a hard look in the mirror, and it's going to be frustrating. I was talking to Agent Off the Ledge last night, and I was telling her, like, you have to get through this in order for you to get more business. And she's like, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we go from a mindset of being an individual producer to being a team player to being a leader, we really that's really where the fulfillment happens. There's an amount of fulfillment in being an individual producer. I don't mean as far as in real estate, thinking individual team. I don't mean it like that. I just mean in life. From a basketball mindset or a career mindset. But when we get to that place where we realize it's about something so much bigger than our own development. I was thinking about this as a mom and thinking about how my desire is to raise my kids as women eventually of character and discipline. I want them to be able to do hard things. I mean, there's so many things. I want them to be courageous, all of these things. And then I'm like, oh, there's a huge plot twist here. Parenting is really about me developing those things.
Okay.
Because they only do what they see. They're not going to do what I say. They're going to do what they see. The biggest plot twist of parenting is that it's about us developing so that we can have influence on our kids. Mm-hmm. But it's really not about their discipline. It's about my discipline. Yeah. And as we kind of start to see how our place happens in the bigger picture of things, it changes everything.
I love that. I didn't think of it that way in terms of parenting, but yeah, your kids are watching. They observe you, especially you've got these young, beautiful, impressionable girls, and they're probably watching. And I hope they are very proud of their mom. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. They I think are taking notes, good and bad.
Like, remember that one time?
Yes, they have actually said that before. It's really funny because I asked one time, I don't know if I've told the story in the podcast. I asked the girls one time, I was like, all right, what have I done that's putting you in therapy one day? And Jillian kind of chuckles and Jake goes, oh, it was that time at Disney World. I kid you not. Yes, she knew exactly what I had done that was going to put her in therapy. Because I had promised to I had said that we would go back the next day and buy her this, I don't know, overpriced lightsaber. And then we didn't go back the next day. That is a true story. So I have asked for forgiveness because I have wounded her. And then I have also coached her that we can either hang on to these things or we can forgive and let it go. So anyway, so we'll avoid therapy on that one for now.
Or you can offer those first 3 sessions are on you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, at some point, there's going to be a few things. Anyways, we're so off topic. I'm sorry to digress. Okay. So this is a quote for you. Living the life I wanted rather than living the life I was willing to tolerate. Tell me about that.
Just hearing that out loud is very triggering, right? Even I think about the IGT model, which is a model that we teach in Keller Williams. You go from an individual to a group. And as an individual, you're high functioning, but as a group, you get together and you're still kind of figuring it out. Think about when you just get into a relationship. And then when you get together and you're growing and you finally collaborate, you let go of some ego stuff. You're functioning as a team, and then you have a kid and you drop down to a group, right?
Yes.
I think about that when it comes to how I am with my family, how I am in our office, right? Like, I've been super blessed to kind of just be able to have access to things that I just would have never imagined. There's some rooms that I go in and I'm like, are y'all sure y'all need me here? Am I supposed to be here? Let me check my calendar invite, make sure my name's on there, right? But that being said, I obviously show up with the confidence, but it was the reminder that, like, okay, my husband and I have been together X amount of years. We are growing our family. We're doing the things. How can we be better? Like, I don't want us to ever be stagnant. Mm-hmm. Like, I want us to constantly be growing. And that's the reason why he was a yes, because he also shared those same values. And so now our conversations are a bit more high level. I'm asking him more thought-provoking questions. And we're really focused and working together on the things. Transition that to our office. Mm-hmm. As we're in the process of growing and really trying to make history, we really want to, it's about me deciding, okay, as a leader, how do I kind of like back off and let other folks lead? How do I then become more of a team and less of a group or even individual. And so it's been a lot of like learning, but also really getting clear about that life that we want. So, and in those actions, in those pivots, how does that help us grow to be that and create that life that we really, really want?
So what do you think the number one thing is that you've had to let go of to be able to grow in this way that you're talking about?
I don't even want to say it out loud because it means that it's something I'm also still dealing with, but it's ego. I think as women, we think that, oh, I got it. Like, I'll just do it, right? Oh, I got it is going to make you really, really tired.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really hard. And sometimes being a leader means it's going to look jacked up. Being a leader means you've got to let them do the calendar 5, 6, 7, 8 months in a row before the calendar actually looks really good. And it's frustrating. Sometimes you got to sit on your hand and bite your tongue. I think about another leader in our organization, and I think just how well they've done of really just watching people be them and going through their things, coaching them through it. But I don't see this person ever just stepping in to say, okay, I'll just do it.
I'll take it back. Well, it's interesting with ego because I think that there are so many times ego disguises itself in such a self-righteous way. It's disguised as standards, or it's disguised as all of these, very self-righteous things. But when you strip it back, nope, it is just ego. It is just self-centeredness. It's just me, 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 me. And if we get really real about that, that's where we can really grow.
Yeah. And protection.
Yeah.
We think that we're protecting the other person.
Yes.
And we're not. And think about real estate. Every person who got their real estate license was told by somebody, you're not going to have a consistent check.
Yeah.
That's their own ego and insecurities showing up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay. So let's talk about how motherhood changed everything, because you have the cutest, most adorable little son.
He's awesome.
And you were also an adorable pregnant lady.
You watched me through all of that.
I have. I know. You were just so precious.
Yeah.
And now he's just out there in the world as just the life of the party.
Oh, my goodness.
This kid is busy.
Very busy.
So talk about how you have navigated, because that is such a hard transition going from, it's challenging to go from single to married. That's a whole new dynamic. Like we were talking about going from, group to team, individual to group. But then when you add in a little human being that's dependent on you, it just absolutely changes everything. So how do you juggle it? How have you figured that out of being an amazing mom and also continuing to grow your leadership?
Magic.
Oh, perfect.
That's all I got.
Put a link to that in the show notes. That would be awesome.
Magic is like the only thing.
That would be really, really good. Well, we would love to. Is that available for purchase? Is
go to my website. No, I'll be honest with you. It took a lot of just that, like just kind of shedding ego and saying, okay, one, when it comes to raising this tiny human, I've got to get out of the way. I've got to let them decide what they want to do. I can't curate the things, and I do my best.
So is he going to play basketball?
I would love for him to play basketball. Whatever he wants to do, I'm going to
Sometimes you looked in the mirror and smiled and said that.
Oh my gosh. I practice it.
That's amazing.
I practice it. And plus, I'm not going to lie, he really does love basketball. So, of course, we watch it.
Yeah.
My brother and his wife, Parents of the Year. Oldest played basketball in college at Colorado State. He's going to play pro in Denmark. Next kid is in Arkansas playing college volleyball. The next one's in Illinois playing college basketball. The next one's in Corpus Christi playing soccer.
If he doesn't want to play, he really doesn't want to play.
He really doesn't want to play.
That's fair.
Right? But at least he's got exposure to other sports as well, soccer and volleyball. And so we try to expose him to things. But my baby comes home and he grabs that basketball and shoots basketball. Like he hits some shots up every day. And again, there's a little tiny tear that's shed every single time. But I support it, and I just want to make sure I'm advocating for whatever it is that he wants to do.
You're a good mama.
I try.
What's been the hardest part about the juggling?
The hardest part has been kind of wrapping my mind around just being like, I call us big mamas, right? Like us older moms, right? I had my baby at 37 and 11 months. So I was able to say I had him at 37.
I was really close too. My girls were born in January, and I turned, I was much younger. I was 31 turning 32.
They'll still accept you as a big mom if you like.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't a young mom. Definitely wasn't a young mom.
And I think that just kind of managing like the life changes, like my body's changing, my energy's changing. And again, just letting my son be my son, but also getting out of the way enough at the office to say, hey, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I agreed to do this with my baby. I agreed to do this with my family. Somebody's got to step up, right? And that's been awesome because now I get to see other people step up and blossom in ways I would have never been able to see. And so it's been, again, just kind of still getting out of the way, but also just kind of managing myself and just watching other people grow at the same time, which I think is really cool.
I think the next step of leadership is leaders that lead leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Because our goal as leaders really is not to create a bunch of followers. It's to create a bunch more leaders who are also making an impact.
Yeah.
And so that's really is where it gets fun.
Yes.
Fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've said growth isn't a moment. It's a lifestyle. So what are the habits that anchor you? You're just a very growth-minded person. Like you said, you're very competitive. So there's some of that that I think drives you, no doubt. Whatever you're going to be in, you're just going to show up as a winner. But what are the habits that you feel like at this phase of your life are really anchoring you to be a growth-minded person?
So it's funny you mentioned about your girls just kind of watching your actions. And I'm like, my son, unless he wakes up, he's not going to see this, but maybe he will at some point. Mm-hmm. But my morning routine is absolutely like critical to me. I remember watching or seeing this Instagram post, and it was maybe just 10 glasses. And some of the glasses were full, some of them were half full, some of them just had a little bit of whatever liquid was in there. And it said consistency. Oh, maybe vodka. Neither one.
Okay.
But they all had something in it and said consistency looks like this. Just something every single day. And so I have this spot in the house. And I get really like territorial when my husband's sitting there. I'm like, this is my spot. Don't sit at my spot, right?
Poor guy.
I know, right? But I wake up 5 a.m., roll out of bed some days, and I go and I do my stretches because I'm at that age now. And then I'm playing my affirmations while I'm stretching. I'll do my little micro workout, and then I'll sit. I'll read my daily bread. I'll pull out my journal. I'll journal a little bit. In my journal, I'm very intentional about my journaling. I'm only going to write positive things in my journal. Me and my husband could have gotten into a crazy argument. Mm-hmm. My mom could have said something that really just bothered me, or something could have happened at the office that maybe I just feel very unsettled about. I'm very intentional about, even if that does show up in my journal, reframing it to where it is a positive outcome. Because if I don't, then it becomes a story that I'm going to tell over and over again. Girl, guess what he did? And it's not.
It is so profound. I've never heard anybody talk about journaling from that perspective. Obviously, journaling gratitude.
Sure.
Journaling what you're learning. But never from the perspective of even through the hard things. Because it's what you focus on expands. And I've even thought, I tell the story about Jet and, what I'm did that's going to send her to therapy. But the more she tells that story,
right,
it could actually create this idea in her mind if she decides to own that as the story of her childhood,
right,
as a defining moment, and learning how to flip that and say, okay, this is what this story means. Here's the story, but I get to choose what it means.
Literally rewriting the story.
You get to rewrite the story.
Yeah.
That is so good. So many people, I think, they think they need to get it all out. Mm-hmm. And they go to therapy and they just rehash, or they rehash in their journal. So good, Destiny.
Thanks.
It's so apropos for the upside.
But it's about, to me, it's about like solutions. So even when my husband and I got together, as we're like sorting out differences and kind of like merging our lifestyles, like he's Nigerian and like our cultures are way different than I think we would have ever expected. But just as we're coming to certain things, it's like, okay, let's come together to rewrite the story. Let's come together to find the solution. So we can go back and forth on what I did and what you did.
Yeah.
But let's really focus on like a solution here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What have we not talked about in your story that we've missed?
Oh,
I mean, I know we could sit here all day.
I know. So I recently, and I just realized July is National Fibroid Awareness Month.
I just thought you said you lie. And I was like, I do. July. What she said was July. That's my words, right? July.
I said July. Yes.
Slam. I was like, I don't think so.
No.
Okay, July. July. National Fibroid Awareness Month. And that is a big part of your story.
Yes.
I would remember walking through this.
I never would have thought this would be part of my story. Again, I wouldn't say we went through a lot to get pregnant, but it wasn't easy. I'll say that. And come November this past year, I had my son and I were playing on the bed, and he kicked me. And I remember jokingly saying, "Oh, it felt like he kicked me in the fibroid." I know.
You're so fast.
I know. And so ultimately,
so prophetic.
and so I remember thinking like, okay, I'm still noticing this pain. So I called my doctor, and it's a fantastic practice. I love my doctor. So I called her, got an appointment. A couple of months later, unfortunately, I got a doctor's appointment. I remember being in the ultrasound room, in the ultrasound station. What's that lady called? What's the ultrasound person called? Ultrasound person.
I think it's ultrasound person.
That's exactly it. She's like
ultrasound technician.
You're good. Yeah.
I'm a podcast host.
And I remember her saying, like, we can't find your left ovary. What ended up ultimately happening is I didn't know anything. They didn't know what it was, and they wouldn't know until I was under anesthesia, and they were able to take samples. And so pre-surgery, there's a good chance we're going to have to take this mass, your left ovary, and that fallopian tube. If it's precancer, we're going to have to do all of that.
They couldn't find the ovary.
They couldn't find the ovary, but they knew it was attached somehow.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And ultimately, it ended up being not precancer or any of those. It was just a fibroid. That's the chapter in that book, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a fibroid, but that fibroid was the size of a cantaloupe. And so
that is insane to me.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me at the time, and my jaw just literally fell to the floor. I was like, what do you mean a cantaloupe? Yeah. Again, you're tall, but you're not a large person.
Yeah.
Like, how is this even possible?
Yeah. And I, like, no real symptoms. I think that last month approaching surgery, I could finally lay down and see a little, like, bulge, which is wildly disturbing. Wildly disturbing. Like, just laying on your back and seeing this little something. It's like, okay. And ultimately, again, had amazing doctors. My actual OB came to visit me the next day. And luckily, they didn't have to take anything except for that. So, like, imagine going into surgery, not sure if you're going to wake up with cancer, wake up not being able to have children anymore, or you're going to have to start chemo.
Yeah.
Or just, you didn't have to do it either. It was just a fibroid.
Just a fibroid.
It's just a fibroid.
So it's really probably a good thing you got kicked in the fibroid, right?
Yep.
Is that part of the reason they even detected it?
That's literally, they have no idea where it came from, how long it had been there, how long it had been growing.
So interesting.
It was just...
Well, Tommy's story, which the episode dropped this morning.
I listened to it. It was really good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So he talks about that, about how the only reason they found the first form of cancer was because he picked up a box at Red Day and had a crazy pain in his abdomen. And had they not found that first cancer, they wouldn't have found the colon cancer probably until it was stage 4.
Right.
And maybe too late. And so it's crazy how just one little moment like that can be a domino that sets you up. I think we underestimate the power of those small moments.
Absolutely. And I was super grateful. Again, amazing doctors. And I remember leading into my surgery the couple of days before, I just had a really long, tough conversation with God saying, you didn't get all of this set up for me. You didn't get me to where I've got all of my goals. Literally I just got to press a button and things are ready to go. Only for you to say, oh, well, actually, you've got cancer. I know you didn't do that. And so while it was very emotional, I remember very confidently going into surgery, feeling like everything's going to be fine.
You had an anchor.
Mm-hmm.
So good. All right. So what would your message be to somebody who has a strong desire to win in whatever area of their life, let's say in their business, in their finances, in their relationships as a mom or dad, strong desire to win, they're a competitor and they feel like they're in a losing season?
Ooh.
What's the advice for that person listening today?
Honestly, it's going to start with yourself. You sitting down, you having your chats with God, you focusing on yourself. That mirror is going to be ugly some days. You're not going to want to look in it. You're going to want to break it. It's going to be frustrating. But until you can really unpack your within, and that can look like a bunch of different things, from therapy to just having conversations with people, even just a simple feedback from your clients, right? Really spend time reflecting on what you are doing, because that's the one thing you can control, and your attitude is going to be absolutely it.
I love that. And I also think they should take your advice about upside journaling.
Yep. Ooh.
We should come out with a journal.
Absolutely.
Let's co-brand a journal.
I'm into it. I actually have a really good journal idea. I'm going to share it with you.
About this all offline.
Absolutely.
Everybody's going to be trying to steal our ideas and go to market before. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I just love you. You've been such an encouragement to me. I'm excited to see where you're going in the future. And I appreciate you sharing your story.
Thank you.
How can everybody follow you, or what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, so you can follow me, Destiny O, on many platforms, website, Instagram, YouTube, a couple other things too. But those are the main platforms. So yeah. Also, go check out my son's viral video. He's got a really fun, cute video on my Instagram of him reading the NBA book, L is for LeBron. It's really cute.
It is really cute.
It's awesome.
I watched it again just this week. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Upside Podcast, where you invest in your personal growth every single day. It's going to yield you great returns. If you have not gone to teresafled.com, that's Teresa with an H, there's a Fled, and subscribe. I do send out weekly training guides. So on any of the episodes that aren't with a guest, I send out a training guide that you can take that and use it to reteach it to your teams or any groups or organizations that you lead. It is just an easy asset for you to be able to help in your growth. So thank you for tuning in, and keep living on the upside.